You can't hold me down. 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 You can't hold me.
All right, guys, I wanted to talk about this because I know I'm not the only one that's having issues with this. This is after you go to court and you file an eviction and you win your judgment. And pretty much the rest is dealing with the sheriffs on removing them from the property. And the orders that we have actually specifically says from that point on, the bill actually goes to the defendants. So the sheriffs are supposed to charge the defendants, and pretty much everywhere they're actually charging the plaintiff. It also goes farther in on that is actually when you serve the writ of possession, the writ actually tells the sheriffs that, demands them to fulfill this order and proceed to do what the order says, and the sheriffs are making up their own policies and enforcing their own rules. And again, they're still billing the plaintiff. So that's another reason why they're probably adding more of this stuff on it, because they're just not following the orders. So I did want to cover that and talk about it in here. I think we finally noticed this about 3 years ago, and I've been to the sheriff's office a couple times. My sister's been there several times. I even went up to the clerk of court about a year ago over this issue. And then finally we went to the courthouse, and since the judge is issuing this, we wanted to hear from him, and we got him. I recorded it, so I'm going to stick it up, so stay tuned. But pretty much what happened is he first read this and agreed with what it was saying, and then once he went and talked to the clerk of court and the sheriff department, they pretty much told him that they can't get the defendants to ever pay, and that is why they're charging the plaintiff, which again, they don't have that power to ignore this. But again, the judge decided to ignore it and pretty much give us some bullshit excuse. So I'm going to put that up, let you guys see what happened. And then this is also another reasons on why the sheriff's departments are getting away with doing whatever they want, because it's really hard to get us to have these rules enforced. For example, I contacted the bondsman over this issue. They did get back to me. They said this is something they don't have the power over the sheriff's office. They said they could call them, but they're going to end up telling them the same thing, that it's their policy to bill the plaintiff. And they told us that this was a civil matter. Again, she read this. I sent this stuff all to her. She said that she agreed with me on what it was saying, but she couldn't give me any legal advice. And then she pretty much sent me to try to find a lawyer, Iowa, find a lawyer online kind of thing, which again, almost none of those places really reply to you unless they're going to make some money off of it. And this isn't really a money making case, so a lot of attorneys really don't want to help you. And that's another issue, is like tenants have tons of resources and free helps and lawyers all over the place that will help them. But when you're a landlord, you have no one there to help you. And it's insane. Like, then you can't get anything done, even when like the law specifically states this. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into this and start showing you. First, I'm going to hold it up and let you guys read it. If you guys need more time to go ahead and pause it, I am going to read it and talk about it. So if you guys need more time, just pause it and read it. I'm going to jump down to where it is ordered. It says the defendants be removed from the premise described below, and the plaintiffs be put in possession of the premises. Upon issuance of the writ of execution, the court commands the sheriffs of Jefferson County. And again, this isn't just happening in Jefferson County. I've been looking at this stuff for a couple years. It's happening all over, even here in Iowa. It's all over, guys, and a lot of them are even getting crazier, that they have their own policies on how many people they have and all that stuff. Okay, so sheriffs of Jefferson County, Iowa, to remove defendants from the premises in the daytime, put plaintiffs in possession of the premises, and remove from the property all persons claiming to hold property under or by virtue of authority of permission of the defendants. The court further orders that the judgment be entered in favor of the plaintiff and against the defendants for the cost of this action and for all costs occurred on the writ of possession. So that very last part, I mean, they're actually going above and beyond and making sure this is clear when they tell you that the court further orders that the judgment be entered in favor of the plaintiff and against the defendants. So that means that these charges go to the defendants for the cost of this actions and all costs occurred on the writ of possession. The reason why they make this is because once we get this, our case is now closed. So we had a small claims case and the order for forcibly enter and detain her. So now our case is closed. For example, if the sheriffs now bill us, we would have to go through the process all over again with the courts filing small claims and trying to get this. And again, we've already been granted an award for this. So they further award us that those future costs needs to go to the defendant since we have won our case. Again, this time, for example, when my sister went down there to, when she turned in this letter, I think it was this letter over here, the sheriffs told them that we needed 2 people per room to show up. Again, this is really getting crazy because right now we couldn't find any help. So everybody's wanting over $25 to show up and help us. So again, 2 people per room, all this stuff. Like, this is insane. We also don't know what we're walking into. And again, I don't understand why we're being responsible for the tenant's possession when they've had plenty of time to get out. Like, why am I being billed for that? And why do I have to get the manpower to get there and have their stuff removed? So that's another reason why it's getting a little crazy. And I've also seen in other counties, for example, that they're having people sit outside and watch it for so many hours and all this other stuff. But here in the video, you can see that the sheriffs tried to say they didn't require that. They actually told us that. It was just that sheriff was trying to say they didn't. But when we went down there and they said that we needed it, that wasn't, that's pretty much saying that we need it. So it is a requirement when they word it that way. So anyways, after you get this done, they give you, like, again, they give you a date down here. She was supposed to be out on 2/22/2021 at 1 p.m. If they're not out at that point, that's when you also have to file or deliver the writ of removal and possession to the sheriffs. And I'll go ahead and let you guys see that as well. Again, if you need more time, just go ahead and pause it. I'm still going to read it out loud. I'm just going to start down there where this judgment is actually commanding the officers to do it. So, you are commanded to remove the above-named defendant from the premises, as well as all persons claiming to be entitled to possession through them, and to place the above-named in possession. Based on 648.22 Code of Iowa, you are also commanded to collect from the defendants the cost of in the same manner as in ordinary case. After performing as commanded by this writ, you will file with the courts a return describing your actions and execution of the writ. So again, it's very clear on this. It says, based on 648.22 Code of Iowa, you are commanded to collect from the defendants. That means that defendants are billed. It says the cost in the same manner as an ordinary case. As an ordinary case is like how they would bill anyone else, like exactly how they're billing us. Like, they need to bill them instead. And then pretty much that's what it's pretty much saying. So, I mean, it's clear as day. And again, the reason why this is because we've already won our judgments. This is still part of that case. If they bill us, then this isn't part of that judgment anymore. This is like, now we have to go through the process again. So at least this was an issue in the past that they actually went ahead and made an Iowa code on this and pretty much granted us protection to have this billed to the defendant. It's just none of the sheriffs are following through with it. And again, they're pretty much doing what they want. So now I'm going to read, first I'll let you guys see the Iowa code, what it is. I'm going to go ahead and read it out. So if you need more time, just pause it. Universal Citation, Iowa Code 648.22. Judgment execution costs. If the defendant is found guilty, so pretty much everything after this is if they were found guilty, this is going to apply. Judgment shall be entered that the defendant be removed from the premises, and that the plaintiff be put in possession of the premises, and an execution for the defendant's removal within 3 days from the judgment shall issue accordingly, to which shall be added a clause commanding the officers to collect the costs as an ordinary case. So again, that all that means is that if they were found guilty. We need to go get them out, and then the costs are still going to be given to the defendant as an ordinary case. That's pretty much what that's saying. So, I don't know. I think I covered that pretty good. Again, I do kind of argue with them in the video on this, and you can just listen to what landlords are putting up with when we go to the courts and we have any problems. It's just ridiculous how we're treated when we go to the courts. For example, when we were up there, like, the judge is acting like he's done us a favor for even granting us this stuff. No, this is his job. Like, that's what's like every time this comes around, it just annoys me that, like, the courthouse is doing me a favor by me coming in, following the laws, doing what the law says, and then once I'm awarded it, it's like they did me a favor. It's like, to me, it extremely annoys me, man. So pretty much every time I have to evict someone and I see these papers and I know that I'm being billed for something that I've done, it just annoys the hell out of me. So for example, up until this point, we have had to deliver several letters. This stuff we paid, because this stuff came, since it's still part of this case and it was before we were awarded, this stuff is going to go into our small claims. The reason why this is an issue right now is because this stuff isn't, and now we're being billed, and either we eat those costs or we go and file another small claims where we're going to have to pay the court fees, and again, we never get those things back. And that's another thing I should mention right now. The reason why this is an issue is because the sheriffs can't collect from the defendants. I've been doing, I've had 12 apartments for over like 10, 15 years now, and I've probably done 20 small claims, and I've never gotten one payment from one person as of date. What happens is that once you file, let's say you're going to garnish someone's wages, you have to still have the sheriffs go do it, and they have a fee. Once they start garnishing their wages, the people quit. Every time. It seems like that's what's happened to me. And then if there's any money that is collected, the sheriff takes that fee. For example, we just had one in the county over, and I think they charged $150 to garnish the wages. They quit, and again, all the money that they collect didn't even pay for that. So they took that money, and we didn't receive anything. So that's where this is actually coming down to, is that the sheriffs are deciding not to follow what is commanded of them because they know they can't get it from the defendant, and they're trying to say that we need to go after it. Again, it's covered in the video a little bit, but I did want to note that. And then again, on another issue is that the sheriffs are adding all these other things. For example, this writ, it just says that they're supposed to remove the defendants from the premise and give the possession to us. Again, they've already been evicted. They've had plenty of time to get their stuff out. If they want to enforce some of that stuff, they need to do that on the defendant's time and on their dime. Right now, they're doing it on my time and on my dime, and I have an issue with that. Honestly, I don't really care about moving their stuff outside. That's not an issue. It's that they're going to bill us, and then they're going to require us to have people, manpower that we have to pay for there to remove the stuff from the property. I think that's where the issue is. That first off, the sheriffs don't have the power to actually do that. I think that's another thing is a lot of people don't understand is that the sheriff's office only has the power of what the courts give them, and nowhere in this is the courts giving them any power to add their own policies and rules to this. This is just for eviction, and removing them from the property is what this is actually doing. This isn't an eviction. This is removal and possession. So there's nothing in here that states that I have to move stuff outside, that I have to leave it for 24 hours or any of that stuff. Like, I'm fine with doing that still, but it shouldn't be enforced. The sheriff shouldn't be billing me, stuff like that. So let me think of anything else that I should probably cover in this real fast. But yeah, again, for that last part, again, the courts are actually specifically telling them also to bill the defendant and not us. And that's another issue that we're having. So anyways, I'll roll that video and let you guys check it out. Also, leave your comments in the description if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, please state why or why not. Also, let me know what problems you've had in the past and how this has been handled. Again, right now, pretty much another reason why this is an issue is because if you don't pay this is the bill I already got now for this. They charged $118. They sat out there for 2.5 hours. The first hour, the tenants were still there trying to pack their stuff out, so we let them go ahead for another hour. And I mean, this is crazy, but sometimes it can get longer than this, and like they're billing you for it. So again, I don't pay this, what happens is if I ever have an eviction again, they won't even deliver these letters until this is paid. So again, this stuff is commanded. We've already paid what we owe. Once we get to this point, this is commanded for the sheriffs to do it this way. But yeah, right now the sheriffs have given us a $118.44 bill that is supposed to be the defendants. And again, reason why this is an issue is because if we don't pay it, they will no longer deliver any of these letters that they're supposed to deliver for us. So anyways, leave comments. See ya.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hi.
What can I do you for?
We have, you want us to come up there or stay here?
No, why don't you take your hat off, please?
Oh,
first.
sorry.
So, what's going on?
We have a writ of possession, and when we're talking to the sheriff's office, they're demanding us to have 2 people per room to show up out there. And then they're also saying that they're going to bill us for how long it takes. And my understanding is that they're letting the people there, because the last time we did one, the people we were eviction were moving their stuff out, and they wanted us to move their stuff out with them. And it created a huge problem because, like, again, and right now, again, they're also wanting us to have, for this place, it's going to be 6 people. First off, I don't think it's fair that I need to go hire 6 people to go out there and do this. And this is not an eviction. This is a writ of possession. Way I understand it is that the sheriff's supposed to go out there and just make everybody leave so we can change the locks.
My understanding is that law enforcement is there just to keep the peace. The law enforcement doesn't move anything.
No.
Yeah, but they're requiring us to have, they're demanding us to have 2 people per room to move stuff out, which is now adding my cost, and then I also have to find people that can go do it.
Why do they do that?
I don't know.
This lady that when I took the permission writ down to the sheriff's office the other day, she told me to have at least 2 people per room to make it faster for them.
Well, why are you talking to me about it? I have no control over how they run their office.
Because it's court ordered that they need to follow the court order, not what they make up.
Well, the court order is there for them to keep the peace. I can't tell them what they have to tell you.
Okay, the court order is just to make them removed from the property.
Hold on a minute.
Okay.
Is she out?
No. As of yesterday, nothing's been moved out outside.
And we've also had this problem in the past because they're going to bill us. In this case, it also says clearly that the defendant is going to be billed, and they're saying that they're going to bill us. It comes.
That's right.
Yeah, but it says here that they're not. It says everything after. Where does it say? It says that the court further orders that the judgment be entered in favor of the plaintiff and against defendants for the cost of the action and all costs occurred on the writ of possession.
That's right.
So that goes to the defendants.
Yeah, but you have to collect it from them.
No, that's not what this says. It says that the courts are billing the sheriffs. I even went up and looked up code, what is it, 64822, and it actually states.
Can you wait a minute and calm down here a minute?
Well, this is, like I said, I'm at the annoyance point because we've been putting up with this for a couple of years, and now it's at the point that I think I need to do legal action.
I'll try to explain it to you.
All right, and you're explaining to me what the order doesn't say. All right, go ahead.
When court costs are assigned to a defendant, they have to pay it. But you've already paid like the initial filing fee,
Yes?
and so they have to pay you that back. You have to get that from them. And any of the other costs, if it winds up, you have to pay related to this case, and it's assigned to the defendant, you still have to pay it, and you have to get it back from them. You have to pursue them for a separate judgment to get your court costs back.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that's not what it says here. In this form, it says anything for the writ of possession. Up until this point, you're right. Up at the writ of possession, now they have to treat this as an ordinary case and charge the defendant. It clearly says it under 648.22, the Code of Iowa, it even says, if the defendant is found guilty, judgment shall be entered and the defendant be removed from the premises, and that the plaintiff be put in possession of the premises, and an execution for that defendant's removal within 3 days from the judgment shall be issued accordingly. 648.22. And it says, to which shall be added the clause commanding the officer to collect the cost as in ordinary cases.
Execution for the defendant's removal within 3 days from the judgment shall issue accordingly, to which shall be added a clause commanding the officer to collect the costs as in ordinary cases. Well, how are the costs collected in ordinary cases?
That's why you go back to this. It says the court further orders that judgment be entered in favor of the plaintiff and against defendants. For the cost of this action, all costs occurred on the writ of possession.
Hold on a minute. I think you're right. That's 648.22.
I feel like I'm right. I've looked at it. I've spent already like over a year trying to research this case because I came up here several times.
That's what he's saying. He is saying that the order says the cost will be assessed to the defendant, to the property. But the way it says here, shall be added a clause commanding the officer to collect the cost as in ordinary cases. Now, how does the sheriff go about collecting the cost? Is it collecting from the defendant, which is what you're saying, or does it, in most ordinary cases, the costs are accepted into the defendant, just like his cost of filing the thing. And then for him to collect that, he's got to go collect that from the defendant. Is that what they mean by in ordinary cases? Yeah, that's the way it. Yeah, that's what I thought too. So what my clerks are telling me is that the way the sheriff does it, and as I understand in ordinary cases, is that the sheriff always collects their fees up front.
Yes, so they need to do it. But again, this court order says that it's the court further orders that the judgment be in favor of the plaintiff and against the defendant. For the cost of this action, all costs occurred on the writ. Is saying that they need to do that cost to the defendant. It's billed to the defendant.
No, what it means is that the costs are assessed to the defendant. But the sheriff, just let me finish here, okay? If the sheriff had to collect its cost for doing its work from the defendants never have any money.
So you guys are holding us for it. We are never going to get it either. Do you know how many small claims I have up here in the last 15 years? I have gotten zero.
I don't write the law.
Okay, and I don't either, but again, you are still expected to enforce the law. So, you're already saying that I need to prepay. Tomorrow, we don't prepay. They show up and they bill us later. So what you guys are talking about isn't even true in the first place.
Okay. Well,
because we don't even know how much this is going to be. Let's say it takes 4 hours. They can charge us. And that gets to my next point is this isn't an eviction. This is a writ of possession. Like, they don't need to be there. They're still just there to show up and get the people off the property and let us change locks. This is not an eviction. The eviction was 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Well, that's part of the eviction process.
Well, this order is a writ of possession.
That's
Yes.
what you get through eviction. That's
Yes.
the order that entitles
So
you
why are we being?
Finish.
Good.
Thank you. That's what, that writ of possession is what every landlord tries to get when they evict someone. And so you made your case, and I gave it to you, all right? So I don't have any control over how the sheriff does its job. If you're telling me that they show up and then they bill you for it, then fine, that's the way they do it.
But I'm telling you right here that the order says that they're supposed to bill the defendant.
It says it's assessed against the defendant.
No, it does not say assess. It says billed. Like here, I'll read it in another one because it has it. It says, are also commanded to collect from the defendants. Right now they're collecting from the plaintiff. The cost in the same manner as an ordinary case. It's, again, based on 648.22 Code of Iowa, you are also commanded to collect from the defendants the cost in the same manner as an ordinary case. That is from the defendant. I'm the plaintiff. This right now, this court order is the judge. You are demanding the sheriffs to collect from the defendant. It's clear as day here. Again, I'm the.
I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
Are you like serious?
My understanding from what I just heard from the clerks, and Jerry, maybe you can tell what is the process of the sheriff's office on eviction?
Yeah, we charge an hourly fee.
Yeah, but who do you charge it to? Do you charge it to the landlord, or do you charge it to the tenant?
Could you look at this and read this and tell me who you think is supposed to be getting billed? Please read it out loud.
Just a second. Let me call our civil clerk who
All right.
handles this.
I mean, I don't understand what the problem is because right now, I mean, it's the court ordered. You guys still have to follow what the court ordered. When the courts are demanding this, you guys have to follow suit on what actually is here. It's not like you can be ordered and then choose to make up your own policy. I mean, that's not what happens here.
What's the case number? 022.
178.
178. Okay, thank you. All right, writ of possession.
Shelf Jerry.
That's not what I want. The judgment.
So the writ of removal and possession says
Here it is, issued writ.
we're commanded to collect from the defendant the costs. Well, 1 second. Let me put you on speakerphone. Hang on, I'm here with the judge and the plaintiff, so hang on 1 second.
What further orders it wasn't?
Okay, Michelle, go ahead.
Okay, so this has been an issue before, with the Pilkingtons.
That's why I'm at this level.
I've been talked to about, with Jenny, the clerk report, that is the wording that the clerk report from the get-go is put on there. We are not part of the case, the defendant and the plaintiff are part of the case. So what happens is, and Jenny will, tell you too, is they have to pay for it, but then they have to go after, because they're the plaintiff and the defendant, they have to go for the payment from them.
So
We're not involved in it.
So you guys aren't going to follow the court order
Wait, don't get into an argument with it. Let's just try to figure out.
because you guys aren't doing it correctly. I mean, I don't understand how you guys can just make up your guys' own like rules off of what the judgment is.
So what we're doing is we're getting our payment from them because that's the way it's supposed to be, because we are not part of that case.
we get our
All
payment.
we're doing is we're the third party as far as serving it.
Right.
We are not any part whatsoever of it.
So we charge the plaintiff.
So yes, the person that's asking us to do the duty, the person that's asking for the eviction.
Which would be the courts. This is a judgment from the court that says that you guys are supposed to do this action. Look what she's sitting here and saying.
Hear everything she has to
All right.
say.
I'm sorry, Michelle, could you please repeat that?
Okay, the person that is asking the court for the judgment, asking for this to be done, that would be the plaintiff,
Right.
and therefore that is the one that's liable for the fees.
Okay.
And like I said, you can contact Jenny, with the clerk of court, and she's the one that told me also that we've tried to get the wording changed on it, and it's just the court, the state, the whatever, that's how it's been wrote for, but that's not, it's being implied that we are the ones that are going to go out and collect, but we are not. We're the ones that are collecting from the plaintiff, and the plaintiff has to ask for a judgment against the defendant.
That's what I thought.
Which clearly states differently in this court order.
All right, thanks. All right, so I don't know if this is, these are standard forms that have been around for years. And that's my understanding of the way it's always been done, is that the plaintiff, even though the costs are assessed against the defendant, they're actually billed to the plaintiff, and the plaintiff is the one that has to go, because you're the one that rented the place to these folks, okay?
All right, and if it was up to me, I wouldn't be using the courts or the sheriff. This is actually something that is required by law, and I have to follow the law, and now you guys are actually putting a judgment, which is pretty much an order, law, that you guys aren't even choosing to follow yourself.
The judgment is against the defendants.
Yes, and that's who's supposed to be paying for it.
They're the ones who are ultimately responsible for it. If you disagree with it, then all I can tell you is go consult with a lawyer. I'm not gonna order them to do something or tell them to do something that's not their standard procedures. I don't think I have jurisdiction to do that. If it's a question, I see, you made your point.
I don't. All right. Now you go ahead and finish, then I move on to our next one too.
All right. So what's the next one?
Okay. The next one is that they're saying that we need 2 people per room to go out there. And again, this isn't an eviction at this point anymore. This is the writ of possession, and they're saying that we're going to get billed an hourly bill for however long it takes us to remove their stuff, which we don't know how much stuff they're going to leave and all that stuff. And this stuff actually doesn't state anything like that. It just pretty much says that they're there to remove remove the defendants and give the property to the plaintiff. And, obviously to do that peacefully, they just show up, have them escorted off the property, we change the locks, and they leave.
Well, so what's the issue?
That they're wanting us to have 2 people per room, which now I have to pay for. And then also on top of that is that they're also going to bill us, like we just talked about. And then however long it takes, that we're going to end up getting billed for that. And again, it's the defendant's stuff. They've already had their chance to get out. We don't want it. We're fine with doing this, but if they're going to, on top of it, require us to have a certain amount of people that we have to pay for, and then also be billed.
True.
That's what they told me.
You don't have to have.
Okay.
But then they're requesting it. They also said that if we didn't have enough people to do it, that they would actually leave, and then we'd have to reschedule it. Yes.
We show up. There will be 2 of us.
Yeah.
They recommend you have help
Right.
to get the stuff moving, but we're not going to leave.
Well, I'm just saying, I think they weren't saying they were going to do it. They said they could if we didn't have enough help to do it.
True.
But that's pretty much saying that then they would have to leave. If they left, that means we would have to come back and get another writ of possession if they didn't.
Well, I think the idea is to try to save you money instead of having them there for a longer period of
Right.
time.
No, that's costing us money when we have to hire 6 people.
You don't have to.
No, but when you guys are asking for that, it's pretty much telling us to do it. Like what I'm trying to say is that this isn't even.
Not the older lady that sits off to the side, but the younger girl that sits right back from the window.
Okay. Well, I'm telling you, I've been to several evictions. Just have somebody there to start moving stuff.
We haven't had any problems. The problem is just that it feels like there's a lot more demand coming on us. And like I said, that I don't think rentals actually make that much of a profit. Most of the time I actually spend my own money, and this is what makes it more stress for me. So every time I have to do something, I'm pretty lenient with my tenants. The reason, for example, this time, this wasn't even a money writ. This was that they have trash all around their property, and the city was contacting us. And I don't know. That's why I have her manage it. I've done it for 10 years, and I got to the point where I can't stand rentals. Like, there's not enough profit, and everyone's complaining about rent, and it's like there's nickel and dimes, like just eating at cost. And I'm stressed out on it. And then like every time I turn around and we try to evict something, it's like there goes another $200. And it's like the court case is only, I think it's now $95. And it's like, but I'm paying $200 in fees to the sheriff. And it's like, and again, it's not, I understand why you guys are taking it, but again, I think these things to be going to the defendant like it says. And then again, when we're being told that we need to show up with this many, and I know you guys might not enforce it, but we're still being told that we need this X amount, and then we're going to be billed for how long it takes. I mean, it's just something that I need to, it's like, hey, this isn't what these orders are actually saying. And that's why I wanted to come in here and get verification, because if it's going to be something where we're going to go out there tomorrow, for example, and it's going to be like a $300 bill because it takes us that long, like I'd rather just show up and have you guys escort the people off the property, and I'll lock the doors and I'll move their junk out to the curb whenever I get to it, because that's what the writ is actually saying.
Well, I mean, I think, I don't know, I think all I can tell you, and all I'm allowed to tell you, is if there's some real issue with these, talk to a lawyer and find out what your lawyer says. But I agree with them, I've never heard of them saying you had to have 2 people per room.
That's when I took this last permission to write down to them.
I don't think they're requiring it, but they're asking for it.
They have at least 2 people per room to make the process faster.
Yeah, well, that's up to you. That's your decision.
It's helpful.
Do you have some help lined up though, or?
It's just me and him. We don't.
Yeah. Again, I mean, that's what we're saying is like people don't want to do this for like 15. I mean, I'm going to be paying $20, $25 for, like, it's not even worth it. Like I'm saying, like, that's why I'm going to go out there and do it myself. And that's why I'm also like saying, like, if you guys are going to bill us for this stuff, like, this is either need to go to the defendant, or I'm going to actually do what this order says and have you guys just remove people from the property, and I'm going to change locks, and then I'm going to leave. You guys do what you guys want after that. Because this is not, that's what I'm trying to say, is like, this might be part of an eviction. This is like the later steps. The eviction is already over. This is just giving us the property back to us. So I don't have to go there. I don't have to hire people. I don't have to move their stuff. I don't have to be kind to their stuff. That stuff is already in the past. So, and I've been watching this stuff on YouTube in bigger cities. It looks like they're actually getting past this and not letting the sheriff do this, because they're just showing up and changing the locks and the landlords leave. So I know they're already doing it, and that's one of the reasons why I started doing YouTube, is because I need to start sharing this information.
Michelle could probably tell you more about our policy on how we go in and why we have to do what we do.
Maybe instead of taking up any more magistrate small time, you want to come to the civil office and stuff it over there?
Yeah, like I said, I was just coming up here because, I mean, in the past you can see that we've been having issues, because again, like, it's just more cost. Like, I mean, you guys are charging $30 per letter doing it. I mean, you guys deliver it first off, both two at the same time. You're charging $60 to deliver just 2 letters. Like, this is.
Are you recording this?
Yes, I am.
Turn it off.
I can't do that.
No.
I have to. I record almost everywhere I go now.
This is over.
The judge is not, I actually noticed that earlier, I was going to mention it to you, that recording a court proceeding is not legal in Iowa.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
Yes, it is.
It is not.
Yes, it is. It's protected under the First Amendment right.
Do you have permission from the media coordinator?
Who do I need that? If you guys look at the media, I have the freedom to express the media and stuff. I don't have to be a media affiliate or anything like that. I'm a private person recording. It's not wiretapping. I'm not doing anything like that.
Okay, you feel free to take that position, but.
I know, I mean, this is why we need to record this, because, I mean, for example, today, you guys are telling me that this bill is actually supposed to go to me, and, I mean, it clearly states that it goes to the defendant. This is one of the reasons why we actually need to do more recordings in our courtrooms, because there's so much stuff that you guys, like, the courts aren't following and doing their laws. Like, this stuff needs to be shared.
Judge, can you take care of
All
my
right.
case?
But thank you.
Yep.
Girl might want to see this.
He's gonna get his ass fucked. That's the board goes. He's gonna get your ass whooped.